Good morning, everybody. I'm Hot Rod Bob, and you've got Gas, the morning edition. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, it is a great Friday, beginning of a weekend. Lots of stuff going on, cruises going on through the weekend. And yesterday we talked about traveling, driving around this country, seeing it, towing an RV, driving an RV. Well, how did you get the RV around? Remember, trailers have been around for over 100 years. How did they pull them? Well, you got hitched. Yeah, that's what they called it. It was a trailer hitch. Now, the rudimentary first trailer hitches were built by blacksmiths, because you got to remember what was around back in the days when the automobiles started. Blacksmiths, horse and buggies. So they came up with a bar that they'd connect to the chassis or frame, put a hole in it, put a hole in whatever you were towing, and ran a bolt through it. Very simple, very effective, very weak, and very scary. And they moved on. By 1917, Glenn Curtiss of the Curtiss-Wright aviation fame developed and patented what's commonly called a fifth wheel. Now, it's a lot different than it was back then because back in 1917, it actually was a wheel. You know, every car had to have a spare tire. I mean, that's something we had up until just a few years ago. Cars had spares. Well, in the early days, the spare was mounted in the back of the vehicle. What about a pickup truck? Where'd you put the spare? Well, they had side mounts on the fenders, but what if you had a contraption that you could put in the base of your pickup truck, put the spare tire in there, hold it down, and then put a trailer hitch right in the middle of that wheel? Cushioned ride, it absorbed some of the forward and side motion. Well, in 1917, Glenn Curtiss of Curtiss-Wright aviation fame developed and patented such a wheel. It's called the Auto's fifth wheel. Now, it is pretty good, and it was used by the U.S. Army through World War II. And they started using steel plates and a more solid, rigid mount. It was nearly 25 years later, about 1965, when the heavy-duty plate on semi-tractors that was downsized to create what they call the modern fifth wheel for passenger trucks or light-duty trucks and such. Now, in 1920s, Frank Zagenmeyer of Bay City, Michigan, patented a ball and receiver hitch. Interesting. That was what things have come to. Now, the hitch was more secure than the little bolt and stuff that they used before that and allowed more flexibility of operation. The early trailer ball was very similar to those we use today, but was a 3/4 inch in diameter, which is pretty darn small by today's standards and really not even legal by today's standards. The ball was similar but small. In the smallest today is a 1 7/8 inch ball. Now, that is a round ball that tapers down and then spreads out and then bolts to a trailer hitch, whether it's a receiver type bar that goes in or a fixed plate on the bumper of trucks. And think about that, light pickup trucks, they have a bumper hitch. The bumper is made strong enough to be a hitch, so you don't need the added piece underneath bolting to the frame. Hi, Jay Black. How you doing? Oh, you're loading your trailer, getting ready for Bonneville? You're going to have to let me know where you are out there. I'll try and stop by and see you. Jerry Whittle says, off this morning. Hope all is well. Yes, it is. It's going to be a great weekend. Now, through the years, there were variations of hitches. There was the clamp type hitch that was basically, it just would clip down like this and locked in place. And that was it was used a lot by the military and heavy equipment. I can remember using them when I was in the military on the tow rigs that we used to pull equipment around with. We didn't have the ball hitch type situation. We just had a huge ring on the equipment and then a clamp that went down through that ring and held it in place. So that was the hitches of days gone by. Now today, for safety reasons, they have hitches that are rated for the weight of the trailer that you're going to be pulling. And it could be anything up to 17,000 pounds. It's a Class 5. A Class 1 starts out as up to about 2,000 pounds, and that's pretty much what I've got on my vehicle, or I'm going to put on my vehicle. I have a trailer that weighs about 1,200 pounds, so a 2,000 pound Class 1 hitch will be good. But for safety's sake, I may just go to a Class 2 just to give me that extra amount of strength. A Class 2 goes up to 3,500 pounds. There's a Class 3 that's about 5,000 pounds, and a Class 4 up to 10,000 pounds. Now, the Class 5 up to 17,500 pounds is for larger loads, mostly construction equipment and so forth. The 10,000 and 5,000 campers, boats, and such. And, 5,000 pounds for a boat with trailer, it's not all that much. That's pretty good. The big trailers with the big boats, that's where you go for the 10,000. The light loads are the 2 to 3,500 pound range. Now, Jerry Weedle says that was supposed to be good. Supposed to be good. Okay, we got it. Neil Panks in Great Britain from Santa Pod. They're racing this weekend. God, that's got to be great. That track's been closed for so long. I know Keith Bartlett's probably really happy to see cars and people out there, and I wish I was there too. Maybe next year we'll work on it for Dragstalgia. You never know what's going to happen. Now, there's a receiver tube, because back in the, I guess it was about the 1950s, they came out with a receiver hitch. Now, this was a rectangular tube that slid into a receiver, or the rectangular opening that was part of the hitch bolted or welded to the frame of your car. Now, they came in different sizes, and they are pretty common here in the U.S. That's the standard way of doing it. There's truck variants as well, and additionally, some pickup trucks today still come equipped with a bolt hole, 3 bolt holes in the bumper mount. Now, the other thing that I've got to keep my trailer more stable while I'm towing it is load equalizers. Now, my hitch slides into a receiver on the car, and then it has holes in it where 2 large bars go in. They go back to the trailer tongue, and there they get hooked up with a chain to equalize the weight. So instead of the car dipping and the trailer dipping like this at the tow ball, these bars keep it relatively straight. So you're not overloading the rear end of the vehicle. You're equalizing the load throughout the chassis of the trailer and the car. And that's what I've got to tow mine. Even though it's only a 1,200 pound trailer, the tongue weight's probably about 300 pounds. And suspension on my 56 Chevy is pretty stout, so it should be good enough to do that. All right, let's go into something else. Now, there's all sorts of different ideas in a trailer tongue and towing. So, like I said, I've got the equalizers. There's some that have shock absorbers. There's also trailer brakes. Some of them are activated electronically. Others use a flexible arm, or an arm that measures the dipping of the trailer, and it has its own master cylinder going back to brakes on the trailer. Now, my trailer is so old, it doesn't have brakes. My trailer was built in 1955. Many camper trailers of mine, the canned ham style, don't have brakes. You got to have good brakes in the vehicle because there's no brakes on the trailer. There are retrofit kits, and you can put brakes on antique trailers, and it's something I'm thinking about doing because it's just an added bit of safety should you get into a situation of a panic stop. Now, the other side of that, too, is you don't want the brakes on the trailer to grab much better than the brakes on the car, because that will make the trailer jackknife around you and slide around you. So that's another thing you've got to be careful about when you're towing is how you stop. It takes a little bit more finesse to do that. And that's one of the reasons the state of California, for example, limits the speed of cars and trucks towing trailers to 55 miles an hour. That's not to say that at 55 you can't jackknife. I've seen that happen already. But it's what you do. Neil Panks says it's sunny and warm at the pod today. Santa Pod Raceway in the United Kingdom, Great Britain, for those of you who don't know United Kingdom. I was over there last year, and I'll tell you what, that is one smooth track. And I was looking forward to being there last month. Didn't happen. We'll get back. Or actually this month, was it? I don't even remember anymore when I was supposed to be there. But I was looking forward to it. Yeah, I guess it was July. All right, so the weight distribution hitch is what I have, and that's a load leveling hitch. And that's the hitch that's set up with tow vehicles. It uses spring bars, and yeah, it's got bars that go back there, and they flex a little bit under tension to distribute part of the trailer's weight from the tow vehicle's rear axle to the vehicle that's towing it. And the maximum weight capacity for these, they say, is 5,000 pounds. Like I said, I've got about a 1,200-pound trailer. I'm not too worried about it. What I was talking about earlier about the military using the clamp type, they call that the pintle hook. And that is you have a round cylindrical, like a big donut, on the vehicle that you're towing, the trailer that you're towing. And then you have a clamp that goes inside that. Now, Dick Mosley is saying the race trailer weighs around 8,000 pounds loaded. That's a 3,500-pound Dodge diesel tow truck that he's towing it with, or vehicle he's towing it with. And I'll tell you what, those Cummins diesels, they'll get that load towed just right for you. All right, so you're towing your SUV or your trailer, whether it's a car trailer, a camper trailer, a huge RV trailer or not. Keep it safe. Remember, don't tow more weight than you're actually towing with. And think about that for a second. If the trailer weighs more than the vehicle you're towing it with, it can push that vehicle around. I've been in that situation. I had a half-ton pickup truck I used one time to tow a car. The car weighed 3,500 pounds. The trailer was another 1,500 pounds. The car weighed 3,500 pounds. I got pushed around quite a bit. You learn how to do things a little bit different when the trailer is pushing the vehicle. And that's why a lot of people have the dualies. Extra wheels on the ground, extra weight, to keep that vehicle stable when you're towing. All right, I'm Hot Rod Bob. A little short gas today. A little short burst of gas. Well, never mind. I'm Hot Rod Bob. You've got gas. The morning edition. Brought to you by Service Tech Equipment. Thank you, guys. Hey, don't forget our YouTube channels. Two Tired Guys Productions and GAAS, the Great American Auto Scene. Two separate pages with a lot of great videos for you to see. Two Tired Guys has both the evening gas and talking about cars videos. We talk to people about their car stories on Talking About Cars. Some of the famous movie stars of days gone by, some of the current stars of today, and even some of the automotive experts of the day. GAAS does the same thing sometimes, but most times it's you and me having a conversation about cars in general and hot rodding and racing and everything to do with the hobby of the automobile. So check it out. Two Tired Guys Productions. I'm Hot Rod Bob. Check us out on YouTube. It's free. That's right. You can become a subscriber to our YouTube channels, and it's free. Two of them, GAAS, the Great American Auto Scene, Hot Rod Bob, and Talking About Cars on Two Tired Guys Productions. Remember, it's TOOTIREDGUYS Productions. Two Tired Guys Productions. You guys have a great day. Justin Lugnut, how are you doing? Take care, everybody. Have a great day. I'm Hot Rod Bob, and you know what? I may do some videos this weekend. You never know. There's a couple of cruises. I think I might become part of it. The Coachman Cruise this weekend here in Camarillo. Talk to you later, folks. Have a great weekend. If I don't see you before, we'll spread the gas word on Monday.